Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Insights with C5 Insight, and we are excited to dive into some of the sales accelerator functionality of the D365 stack. And so Emily's got her screen pulled up and going to set the stage and talk through kind of what we're looking at here.
Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. So what we're starting with today is the Sales Accelerator feature, which, especially in the Sales Hub, is one of the first things that a user may see when you're logging into the system and accessing the Sales app to start your day. It's a great view of your work list. And upon first load, what you're going to be seeing here are any activities that are open and assigned to you across all of your different record types. And what we're looking at specifically are any activities that you may have due today. So for example, with Robin, I have a task for myself to schedule a phone call. But we're also seeing at first glance any overdue items. So any activities that you may not have completed yet from the past week. And so one thing I wanted to point out there is it's great to get that work list right up front for your day. But if you are interested in planning ahead for next week, or let's say you're actually coming in here, you're marking some of these tasks as complete and your work list is empty for today, you'll see we have the filtering option, and you can actually change this to anything that might be due from tomorrow onwards. So then this will help you proactively plan for your next coming weeks.
Awesome. This is great. We lean heavily we have a whole program that revolves around the use of activities. Honestly, we feel it's one of the most underutilized aspects of CRM, and really should be the sort of the forefront of all users in terms of staying on top of their day to day and just being forward thinking and proactive in their interactions and communications with their customers. And so this really gives you a handy tool to kind of stay on top of that. I love that you can complete things right from, like, you had clicked on the ellipses there and mark it complete and like, yeah, done that, move on, and mark it complete and
Exactly.
away you go, which is awesome. Super
Well, and
powerful.
exactly, and that's something that we're hearing, or that we've been hearing a lot from our clients as well, is just the concept of, and it comes up with everyone, but the concept of task switching, having to move between screens, multiple
Hmm.
clicks. So having your work list up front and center here for you, you can quickly move between different records. And then as we noted, we can mark complete right from our screen just within one click, rather than having to navigate away from this main work list. So it's a great thing to have up front for you.
So this is showing us sort of across the board, right? But you can
Right.
narrow in, I think you were going to show too, you can narrow in on a
Yeah.
specific table, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to go into my leads area now. So in this example, in my workday, perhaps I looked at my work list, but realized a really high priority for me today is to really go through my list of open leads and either complete some of my outstanding activities or proactively think ahead to, okay, how can we move this lead along in the sales process? So what you'll see here in the sales tables, so leads, opportunities, etc., you're going to see this focused view option in the command bar. So I'm looking at a list of my open leads right now. If I click on focused view, we're going to come to the same view that we were looking at earlier with our work list items. And so this is showing all of my open leads. But what you'll note here is that any of the activities that are opened for my leads are still appearing on their individual cards. And so that's helpful to see, what I still
Hmm.
have open.
Absolutely.
But what I think it also helps with is identifying what leads I don't have tasks or activities associated to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a
Yeah,
huge part of it. Because and again, with this whole idea of like you should follow a program, you should be proactive, you should always have something coming up. Because if you don't, then what are you working on, right? You may have that opportunity and you know it's there, but what is your next action? I actually have a little sticky on my computer that says, what's the next action? Because it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We should always be thinking about what are we going to do next? What's the next thing to accomplish to move the needle forward on this? And so I love that this gives you the view of what you can be doing and what you should be working on because it's right there, and all the things like, hey, what am I doing with accounts Vong and the purchasing assistant, thing that's there, and I need to think of what I need to be working on next in that regard, which is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can come to Peter here and realize, hey, I don't have any activities open with Peter right now. This is going to prompt me. And again, because we're working through this work list, as soon as I click on one of these items, it's going to open up the lead record for me. I don't need to navigate away from the screen. And then directly from the timeline, I can create my task record directly here for Peter to then prompt me and have this added to my work list for perhaps next week to follow up.
Leveraging the quick view, you're not even leaving the form, so you're getting
Exactly.
everything all as you go through your list, which is just so cool.
Yeah.
And this, I know we don't have time to dovetail or to get into it today, but it dovetails rather into this whole other topic that we've been talking a lot about internally around the sequences, this feature. It's been around for a little while now and really starting to see a lot of value add. And when you pair that, right, this idea of a sequence, like a set of activities that kind of guide the seller, we'll use sales because we have the sales hub, guide the seller through the process. And hey, at this point, we're going to have this phone call, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. And it's going to just keep putting the up next feature. Here's your next activity. Here's your next thing. So you go and build a sequence of here's our 5-step sequence that we need to
Hmm.
follow for every opportunity. And it's going to automatically surface those things as you work through the process. And then you leverage this to be able to see what's coming up next, knowing
Exactly.
that you always got an activity in the queue ready to go. Hey, we got to do this thing next. That to me gives you leveraging those two functions alone. That's a really powerful tool for people. I mean, we're talking in the context of sales, but I think if we think outside of that, even in I know we don't use it much anymore, but this concept of XRM, like anything relationship
Mm,
management,
yep.
you put that into play, like, hey, the next task, the next thing I should be thinking about. That's the bottom line here. It's what should you be doing next? And so having that queued up for you and put into a simple list that I can hone in and be like, I got to catch up on this work today. This is where I'm going to start. I think
Yeah.
this is fantastic.
Yeah, and bringing it up front and center for you. So it's really the using the technology to help you through your day to day and just enhance it that much more.
Awesome.
Great.
Love it. Well, that's a great little overview. I hope
Hmm.
viewers you're finding this helpful and useful. If you haven't played around with the feature, take out a trial and poke around, turn these things on and get a feel for them. They're really remarkably straightforward to get using and set up, which is awesome. And then they're really kind of trying to make it very, very just point and click, turn it on, and away you go. So if you're
Exactly.
not familiar with it, give it a shot. And perhaps next time we'll dive into more detail on the sequences and how to set those up and get those rolling because
Hmm.
they're really
Yeah.
handy function for sure.
Yeah.
So
Great feature to show off for sure.
awesome. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everyone.